of course, everybody knows that Thailand is it's a little wild, to say the least. But here in the next week, 2 weeks, soon, things are about to be about as crazy as they can get. How we doing, guys? I hope everybody is doing well. No, you did not misread the title. Maybe if you just showed up in Thailand and you're like, damn, it's pretty wild here. It might be kind of crazy to think that it's gonna get even more wild than that, but trust me, it is. So if you've been doing your research, or if you've ever spent any time in Thailand, you will know that April is Songkran month. Now, while technically I think the holiday only lasts about 2 weeks, one, it's being extended this time, so it's a week longer. So essentially, it's pretty much encapsulating the entire month of April. This first week is pretty much all we have left. After this, it's gonna be craziness, it's gonna be packed, it's gonna be great fun. I was actually here for Songkran last year. I ran around the whole time. It was super fun, but there is a few things that I learned that if you just came to Thailand maybe and it's your first Songkran, a couple things to kind of just help you out logistically, as well as a couple things you can do to kind of keep yourself safe, because yes, it does get a little bit dangerous when everybody's out partying and everything gets a bit more crowded. So that's what I'm sharing with you today. A few tips and tricks so you can make sure your first Songkran is a good one. So first things first, this is really gonna be true if you're in any of the major metropolitans, if you're in Bangkok, Pattaya especially, Phuket, any of the places that are kind of getaways or just big in general. Logistically, things are gonna get a lot more interesting during Songkran for a few different reasons. One, especially in, Pattaya, Bang San, places close to Bangkok that people might be wanting to travel to for the holidays. You may or may not know, anytime there's a holiday, these places are gonna get a lot more busy in general, and this is of course true for Songkran as well. So one, traffic is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be packed everywhere you go. If you're in Thailand already and maybe you're in Bangkok and you're like, oh, well, I wanna go to Pattaya or maybe Phuket for Songkran, it's gonna be a little bit harder. Things are gonna be more expensive. It might be harder to find hotels and stuff. So I would suggest you jump on that as soon as possible. And another major thing, once you're already in these places, taxis and things like that are gonna be a lot harder to come by for two reasons. One, it's just gonna be more crowded. There's not enough taxis. And for two, the whole thing about Songkran is the giant water fights. The entire city of where you are is gonna be one big water fight. And understandably, people don't wanna pick up people in their cars when they're all soaking wet. So I feel like a lot of people just don't hop on, and a lot of the motorbike guys may not wanna drive around and get soaked. So that's another thing you should definitely plan for if you're planning on cruising around a little bit. Do your best to kind of get everything squared away beforehand, because if you're out and about on Songkran and you need to call a taxi, it's gonna be a nightmare. From what I remember last year, there was one time I was trying to just go from Jomtien to Pattaya, I think. It took me like an hour to actually get a taxi, and then once I did, it took me over an hour just to get to Beach Road in Pattaya. And just for reference, usually that's about a 15-minute trip. So now with the water fights, there might be a couple angles that you haven't really thought about yet, because I sure as hell didn't. And when you're going somewhere to participate in it, you're gonna be walking around, okay, no big deal, right? But especially if you're living in one of these places, if you gotta go get work done, or you've gotta go somewhere to go to the store or go pay bills or whatever, just get your mind around the fact that if you're doing that, if you're on a motorbike especially, you are gonna get wet. There's really no way around it. Now, especially if you're on a bike, one thing to really be careful for, I almost went down one time last year because of it. One thing I can pretty much guarantee, no matter how long you've been riding motorcycles, is you are not used to riding and then getting blasted in the face with a bucket of water. Now, most of the time, people are pretty chill. They understand that you're riding, but that's not to say there weren't times I was cruising down Sukhumvit and you get hit with 2 or 3 gallons of water in the face while you're going 40 or 50 Ks on a bike. It'd be a really easy way to go down. Not to mention, all the roads and stuff are soaking wet. Just go slow, be careful. And of course, don't wear anything or carry anything that you don't want to get wet. Now, full disclosure, for me, last Songkran, the first 2 or 3 days were really fun. You're out and about, it's crazy, it's all new. But honestly, after a week or so, not being able to go anywhere or do anything without getting soaking wet, I can understand why it might get kind of irritating for some people. But one thing to just get in your mind is it is what it is. It's not gonna stop, so you might as well try to enjoy it. And a lot of the time, especially with the Thais, when they're about to get wet or they're about to spray you or hit you with a bucket or anything, they'll kind of make eye contact with you and they'll know kind of whether or not you're trying to get wet. So a lot of people, you can be like, no, 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 and they won't splash you. Honestly though, a lot of what it is the other foreigners here, they do not care. They're gonna spray you no matter what. A lot of them honestly aren't really like fun about it. You'll be walking and they'll be deliberately trying to like spray you in the face and spray you in the eyes with these like crazy strong water guns. So believe me, I understand why it can be kind of irritating, but coming from somebody who can kind of get fed up with stuff a little bit quick, the only way to really deal with it in a reasonable sense is to just understand it's gonna happen. Wrap your mind around it. Try to get all your, running around and stuff done before that 2 weeks starts to happen. Now, of course, Songkran in Thailand, it's a celebration. It's essentially the Thai New Year's. So there's gonna be people out, there's gonna be people partying, there's gonna be people wanting to have a good time. And the unfortunate reality of that is when there is a lot more drinking going on, that means there is a lot more drinking and driving going on as well. It's just one of the realities. I've read quite a few things where police in a lot of the major cities are gonna be cracking down on it a lot more. So on two sides of that, one, I highly suggest you do not drink and drive. One, for the obvious reasons, you could hurt yourself or God forbid, hurt somebody else. Two, sounds like this year you're much more likely to get in trouble. On the other side of that, even if you're not partaking, just be out and about and be aware of what's going on around you. If you're on the road, be super careful for the reasons we mentioned earlier, as well as just understanding that it's far more likely that you're gonna be around people that have been drinking. Every year there are some really sad statistics that come right along with Songkran. So make sure you're not included in those. Stay safe, get ready to get soaked, and of course, have the best time that you can. So happy early Songkran to all of you. If it is your first time in Thailand, it is an experience to behold. Last year I really enjoyed it. It brings about a sense of community that I think is really cool, and we could really use something like that in America. If it's your first time, it's gonna be a learning curve, but it's super fun at the same time. Make sure you follow these tips, try to have a smile on about as much as you can, and of course I will be out and about. I'm gonna do my best to be out filming every single day if the camera can survive it. So you guys will have those videos to look forward to if for some reason you can't make it to Thailand this year. Thank you guys for watching. I will catch you in the next one.